Thank you so much, David.
Excellent, and good morning, everyone, and welcome to the KPMG and University of Cambridge National Numeracy Day webinar. So I'm going to do a quick introduction, and then I'll hand over to the Enrich team at Cambridge, and they've got a brilliant day session lined up for you here. So my name's David. I run KPMG's consulting business here in the UK. So I don't know if all of you have heard of KPMG, but we started over 150 years ago as an accounting firm. So we were checking companies' financial records. Now we do much more than that. We help companies, governments, councils, and universities change to be the very best that they can be. So that's KPMG. So I used to go to school too, believe it or not. So I went to a very ordinary school in Sheffield. If there's anyone, I see someone from Doncaster there. If there's anyone from Sheffield or South Yorkshire, say hi in the chat there. I went to an ordinary school in Sheffield, and then through hard work and help from some great teachers, I eventually went to study at the University of Cambridge, and then on to a career as a management consultant, working all over the world, solving problems. The University of Cambridge and KPMG have a great partnership together. So we're working on understanding big complex topics together that will impact the future of how we live and work, particularly focusing on the future of skills and talent and how emerging technology might impact our lives in the future. So a big thank you to the University of Cambridge Enrich team for hosting the event today and getting us all together. So we're here specifically today to talk to you about numeracy, because tomorrow it's National Numeracy Day. So KPMG is a co-founder of National Numeracy Day alongside a charity called National Numeracy. It's such an important skill. It's key to addressing and solving some of the biggest issues we face as a society and in our everyday lives. And it's key for understanding technology. So we published some research this week that shows 35% of adults say that maths makes them feel anxious. This has to change. Now, I'm pretty sure that number doesn't include all of your maths teachers, but you never know. So we co-founded National Numeracy Day in 2018 to build brighter futures through confidence with numbers. So we want to help everyone to love numbers and feel confident using them. And so I know you're going to enjoy today's session, and you're going to be challenged to think about numbers and maths differently. So a big thank you to the University of Cambridge for hosting the webinar. We can't wait to get going. So I'm really pleased to hand back to you, Liz, and the Enrich team. Thank you.
Thanks so much, David. Yeah, we're delighted to be here as well, and we're really looking forward to working on some mathematics with you all this morning. My name is Liz. I'm part of the Enrich team in Cambridge, and I'm going to be working alongside Charlie. Hi, Charlie. And Ems, the director of Enrich, is also there. Hi, Ems. So I think without further ado, shall we get going on some mathematics? What we've done is we've chosen some of our favourite tasks from the Enrich website, which are linked with place value. So a really important idea in mathematics. And we hope you're going to enjoy what you do today, as well as get a better understanding of place value. Charlie, I'm going to introduce you to a task to get us started. I'm going to share my screen, so hopefully you'll be able to see a task from the Enrich website. Charlie, can you just indicate whether you can see this?
I can.
Fantastic. Okay, so what we've got here, Charlie, is a problem called number lines in disguise. Now, the number line is such a useful tool in maths, and having your own picture of the number line in your head can be really helpful. So this task, we hope those of you back at school will help you build that picture. Charlie, you can see on my number line here, there are 2 numbers marked already, but your challenge is to figure out which number is represented by this black dot, please. So how are you going to go about that?
Okay, so presumably it's called number lines in disguise because most of the numbers have been disguised or hidden away.
That's right.
We've got to uncover them. Okay, so can you use your cursor and just confirm how many steps there are to get from 5 to 19?
Yeah,
I think there may be 7. Is that right?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yes, absolutely. So from 5 to 19 is 7 steps.
And from 5 to 19, 19 is 14 away from 5.
Agreed.
So if I move 14 places, 14 along the number line in 7 steps, then I think each step must be 2. Can we just check? Can we go start at 5, please?
Yeah.
Go up in, so I'm going to go up in 2. 7, 9, 11, 13, 15, 17, 19. Okay, so that confirms that the gradings along the number line are indicating numbers that are 2 apart.
Yeah.
So, okay, so that's nice. You've been very kind and given me something fairly straightforward to start with.
Well,
so,
you know, it's early in the morning, yeah.
2 away, I think it's going to be 4 away from 5. So I think the black dot is at 9.
Okay, shall we reveal?
Go on then.
Well done. I like the way you articulated your thinking so clearly. And the way you did it was one way of doing it. It was a very clear method, but I guess there could be other ways. Those of you now back in school, what we're going to invite you to do is have a little go yourself on a number line in disguise. Now, teachers, just to draw your attention to the fact that you might notice that there's a level slider here. So we have a number of different levels in this interactivity. I'm just going to scroll up a little bit and click on the left here where it says Teachers Resources, because here it gives us a bit more information about what the levels mean. So the one that we did, level 1, was whole number steps. You might get some negative numbers, but you can see level 2 includes some fractions, halves, quarters and eighths. And level 3 and level 4 and level 5 get that little bit more challenging. So teachers, you know your classes really well. We don't know them so well. So what we would like to suggest, please, if you have a go, I'm going to pop a link to this task in the chat. There we go. Either, teachers, please go to the interactivity and choose a level that you think is good for your class. Alternatively, what we've done here in this tab is we've got up, this is a level 2 challenge. So if you'd like to work on a level 2 challenge, you might like to have a little look at this we've got here. And if you're working on this challenge, you could post in the chat maybe how you're going about working out what the dot, which number the dot represents. Health warning, teachers, it might be a good idea if you are working on this challenge and you don't want your class to look at what other people post yet, you could just turn the chat off, just close the chat window for a few moments. I suggest, Charlie, have I missed anything out?
No, everyone has a choice. Either they work on this task or they choose a different level. So
even if you're working on a task of a different level, you could still tell us a little bit about how you're working in the chat, if you like. So I can see my computer says it's 12 minutes past 10 now. I suggest we have a few minutes working. Shall we gather back together again at about, what should we say, 16 minutes past by my watch. So that's about 4 minutes time, and then we'll see how you're getting on. Okay, so over to you back in the classroom.
I'm just wondering, Liz, just for the sake of those who are working on the task that you've said, can you confirm that there are 8 spaces between the 10 and the 12? It looks like 8 from here.
Thanks, Charlie. Good point. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I can confirm it's 8. Yes, thank you. Thank you all very much. I'm really pleased to see some very clear explanations on the chat about not just the answer, but how you've gone about working it out. And as I suspected, there are a number of different ways of doing that. Charlie, I wonder, having looked at the chat a bit possibly and thought about how you might do it yourself, what do you think? If we're looking at this one that's we've got on the screen here, this level 2 task. Oh, you're on mute, Charlie.
Sorry. When you said that there were 8 spaces, I pictured where the halfway line might be.
Right.
If you can put your cursor there.
I think it might be here, yeah? 1, 2, 3, 4, this one.
I pictured that must be 11.
Okay.
And then halfway between the 10 and the 11
yep.
would be 10 and a half.
Yes.
So I was looking for a point halfway between 10 and 10 and a half to give me the spacing between one number and the next. So I worked out that the next, so in between those two must be 10 and a quarter.
Right.
So I can imagine going 10, 10 and a quarter, and then if you carry on 10 and a half, 10 and 3/4, 11, 11 and a quarter, 11 and a half, 11 and 3/4, 12, 12 and a quarter. And so that, I imagine, is one way in which it could be done. Some people worked with decimals. It could be 10, 10.25, 10.5, 10.75, 11, so on, and got 12.25.
Yeah. Yeah.
I suppose there are 8 spaces, and I know that they're 2 apart. So I could be dividing 8 by 2, and I'm picturing 8 people sharing a pizza, 2 pizzas, and how much is each person going to get? Yeah. And again, I get quarters. So a variety of ways in which it could be done.
Absolutely, thank you. And I think all those ways you described were mentioned by somebody in the chat. So that's really helpful. Thank you. Well, let's just reveal the answer. 12 and a quarter. So it happens to be represented in this interactivity. The solutions will be represented in terms of fractions, but of course, you yourselves may represent them in terms of decimals, and that's absolutely fine. A good opportunity to check that you know your solution is the same as the one on the interactivity.
Could you, Liz, could you go to, say, level 3 or?
Yeah, I can.
Just to refresh a few times to get us. Okay, so there the numbers are getting bigger. Can we reveal the answer just to get a sense of, and then refresh a couple more times?
Yep. Just. That looks like an interesting one.
Okay, so yes, so that might be a whole number again, but sometimes we, and what, can we reveal the answer just to get some, okay. And then level 4 presumably gets,
we've got some negatives here. This looks interesting. Oh.
So that level 4 starts getting quite tricky.
Pretty challenging, yeah.
So
we will leave that with you. What I failed to say at the beginning of the webinar, which I really should have done, is that one of our aims today is not just to help deepen your understanding of place value, but also we hope to whet your appetite so that you go back after the webinar today and you continue to work on these challenges that we're offering you. We're not going to have time to explore them in a lot of depth, and we thought it was better to give you a taster of more than one challenge rather than going into detail in a lot. So that task is number lines in disguise, and you may wish to explore further and challenge yourself at higher levels. Charlie, go on.
I suppose the other important thing to mention is that if students spend quite a lot of time on the easier levels, then it's the same kind of thinking that can be used for the levels 3, 4, and 5.
Absolutely.
So it's really good to be rehearsing what the different strategies are, so that when you get to the more difficult ones, you possibly have some choice about which strategy suits the particular numbers that you get.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's a really good point, Charlie. Thank you. Great for number fluency. Shall we have a look at our next challenge, Charlie? Now, I believe you might be going to set me a challenge. I've got some paper ready. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop sharing my web browser, and instead I'm going to share Oops, I'm going to share my other camera, and I'm hoping that therefore you're going to be able to see some boxes here. Charlie, can you see some boxes?
I can.
Great.
And I've got a dice here on my desk.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah.
Can you hear it when I drop it on the table?
I can. Mm.
Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw the dice on my table 6 times.
Okay.
And each time I'll tell you what the number is that appears, and you've got to put that value in one of your boxes. And I don't mind which order you do the boxes in.
Okay.
But once you've got all 6 numbers, I'm going to ask you to add your numbers.
Okay.
So you're going to have 3 2-digit numbers. You know, you'll have things like 42, 15, 26. I've just got a normal 1 to 6 dice.
Okay, that was going to be my question. One of my questions. Good. Okay, 1 to 6.
And your challenge is going to be to get as close as you can to 100.
Okay.
Your total to be as close to 100 as you possibly can get.
So although I've written my 3 2-digit numbers horizontally in a line like this, I guess what I could have done is written them like that, couldn't I? And that's totally up to you when you come to have a go at this challenge in a moment, how you write them. And I guess anyway, we'll come back to that point in a minute, maybe. Okay, Charlie, I'm going to stick with my horizontal layout for now. Go on then.
Okay, here we go.
Yeah.
A 2.
A 2. Okay.
Okay, so you went for the very first square, but you could have gone for any square.
I could.
A 5.
Right.
A 3.
Okay.
A 1.
Okay. Okay.
A 4.
Right. This is an interesting one. Think I might go here.
You made the right choice. A 6.
Oh, I did make the right choice. Okay, interesting. So I've tried to get as close to 100 as I can. It's tricky in the moment because you're making me write the number down as soon as you've rolled, which is not okay. So if I add these up, 20, 50, 90, 110, 120. Is that right?
I think so.
That's not particularly close to 100, is it? So hang on a sec, Charlie. I wonder whether if you had allowed me to wait until I'd rolled all 6. Hang on, what numbers did we roll?
This is really right. You've got one of each. 1, 2, 3, 4. I've just noticed. And this wasn't it. Yes. I wish I had my camera on and you could have seen the numbers.
Okay, so perhaps those of you working in the classroom, here's the next challenge for you. Charlie happened to throw the digits 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Now I had to write them down as soon as he rolled them, but now we know that we've got the digits 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Where would you put them? Where would you arrange them so that you get as close to 100 as possible? Let's just give you a couple of minutes to have a think about this, and Charlie and I will think about it too. So just a few minutes. And you could post perhaps you could post your total in the chat rather than the arrangement of the numbers. So don't give us your 3 2-digit numbers yet, just the total when you think you've got as close as you can.
I think I can manage to get 2 away from the target.
Some people are saying they can get 101, Charlie.
I'm not sure that's possible.
Let's take another minute to think about it, and then we'll chat together. Thank you to all of you who are posting your solutions, and thank you for just giving us the total without giving away too much to start with. So Charlie, I also managed to get 2 away. I wonder if we got the same way. What did you do?
What did I do? I thought about what to put in the tens column first.
Yeah, okay.
And you went a little bit too high. So in your tens column, you had a 2, a 5, and a 4.
Yes.
So I tried, what did I do? I put a 5, a 3, and a 1.
Yeah. So I'm gonna imagine that these are our, I'll lay it out vertically.
Because that would guarantee a 90.
A 90, yes, exactly.
And then I wanted to see what else. So then I'd used all the odd numbers, so I still had all the even numbers to use, 2, 4, and 6. So I put them in the units column, and of course it doesn't matter which order. So you can put them 2, 4, 6, or 6, 4, 2, or 4, 2.
Yes.
And the units came to 12. So I had 90 in the tens column and 12 in the units column. But altogether, that came to 102. And then I wondered, well, if I made the numbers in the tens column add up to 80 instead of to 90,
right? Yeah.
What was I going to be left with?
Yeah.
So I could do that, for example, by swapping the 5 and the 4, or by swapping the 2 and the 3.
Yeah.
Just making the tens column one smaller. And
we could try this.
Yeah, so that gave me an 80, and then what I was left with came to 13, and so I had 80 and 13 came to 93, and that was 7 away.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I stuck with 102, which was 2 away.
Okay, so we're still getting some insistence that we can get 101, Charlie. Oh, here we go. Here's a possible solution. 32, 15, 64. 32, 15, 64. So let's check. Have we used each of the numbers once? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have. So if I add these up,
I think in the tens column, I've got 100. I've got 10.
Yes, I think possibly that we can get 111 that way, but not 101 that way. Yeah, but well done, everybody. Oh, we've got a class who thinks they've got 100. That's interesting. I would suggest we check our arithmetic there. what I did like, Charlie, is somebody posted that they were also thinking about, well, very honest, we were wrong. But this is part of mathematics, isn't it? We don't necessarily get the correct solution straight away. And it's not about doing it quickly. I appreciate in a webinar, we have a time constraint, but that's why we'd like you to carry on thinking about this even after the webinar is finished. I noticed that somebody had posted that they were thinking about the smallest possible total and the largest possible total with the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. That's a nice thing to have a go at as well. Charlie, I guess what we could do is tweak the game slightly. You suggested that we used 3 two-digit numbers. I guess another possibility would be. Can
I just stop you a second?
Yes,
just to clarify, Mr. Reba's class has got also 101.
Right.
And again, I think what they've got is 111, not 101.
Thank you.
A year 5 Attenborough class has got 100, but they haven't used a 2 or a 3. They've used 2 5s and 2 1s. So the rules are you've only allowed to use the numbers that appear on your dice once and once only. So just in case those rules aren't clear, I just want to clarify them.
Yeah. Oh, I see. So I think year 5 is saying that they actually rolled the dice themselves. Okay, so that is another challenge you could do. We were asking you about the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Sorry, the digits 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and how you might arrange those to get as close to 100 as possible. Great, though, that you're thinking of your own adaptations. That's fantastic. Charlie, so I guess one other way that we could tweak this activity is by having 3 three-digit numbers. Again, you could arrange them vertically if you prefer. I wonder whether we should leave everybody at home to have a go at this on their own, sorry, at home, at school, I should say.
And the target here could be who gets closest to 1,000. And if 2 people are playing, 2 students are playing this, they can turn it into a game and play against each other. So each of you decides where you're going to place your 9 digits, and then you work out the difference between the target and your number. So for example, if one of you ends up with 1,120 as your total, then you're 120 points away from the target. So you get a penalty of 120. And if somebody is 900, get a total of 950, and they're just 50 away from the target, they get a penalty of 50, and you go accumulating. And of course, you want to minimize your penalty score. And you can decide we're going to have 5 goes or 10 goes, or the game is going to be over once you've been penalized more than, I don't know, 400 points or 1,000 points. I don't know, depending on how much time you have. So that's quite a nice way of scoring it. So because sometimes you might be very close to each other, so you both get penalized more or less the same. And sometimes you hope that your partner gets penalized a lot more than you do if you do well and they don't. So we've got this. Is this a good time to show everybody the page that we've set up? Do you want me to share my screen and show everybody?
It's okay, I've got it here, Charlie. Actually, that's just so I can share it. Here we go. So I've just posted the link in the chat as well. On Enrich, we've set up this page. It's just enrich.maths.org/national-numeracy-2023. And what we've done here at the top, we've linked to the tasks that we're having a go at with you today, and we will share with you the next one, less is more, quickly in a moment. Just in case you haven't got access to dice yourselves, you could always use our interactive dice and spinners page here, which we've also linked to. And teachers, if you would like any more resources that are linked to the National Numeracy Day, also you can find them on this page. So a useful page to keep a note of, I think. We will also put the recording of today's webinar up there, so you could also watch it back or share it with others later this week.
Liz,
Charlie,
you want to just click either on dicey operations in line or dicey operations, just to show everybody.
Yes, good idea.
That we've just been focusing on addition, but there's also the chance to do some subtractions and then to do some multiplication. And of course, you can do what we've been doing, where we're trying to allocate the numbers as we go along, but you could also play the game where you throw the dice, for say in game 4, you throw it 5 times, and then you get given a time limit, perhaps, for deciding where to allocate your numbers, once you know what all 5 numbers are. And the challenge there is to get as close to a target. It can get quite difficult. There's a division. So yes.
There's plenty of challenges in that task. So that's called dicey operations in line. And going back to the numeracy page, the only difference between that and dicey operations is in the way that we've laid out the calculations. So otherwise, it's the same mathematics. So we hope you enjoy thinking about that and using your knowledge of place value to try and get as close to your target as possible. Charlie, shall we introduce our final activity just before we go? I'm aware that time is slipping through us. Slipping through us. I don't know what I'm talking about. Should I show boxes, or would you like to share boxes? What would you like to do?
Shall we show everybody? We could just go to the problem and.
Okay, that's a good idea.
And then perhaps invite everybody to make a copy of these 4 boxes.
Excellent idea. So you see here, let me make it a little bit bigger. What we'd like you to do, please, is to perhaps with a partner, you just need one with a partner, or in 3. If you draw 8 boxes like this, and with a less than sign in between. So what we've got here is 2 number sentences, if you like. A 2-digit number is less than another 2-digit number. And then underneath that, a second number sentence, another 2-digit number is less than a 4th 2-digit number.
So am I right in thinking you're going to throw some dice?
Yeah.
I'm going to share my working out as you go along.
That would be fab. So I've got here, again, a 1 to 6 dice I'm going to roll. And what we'd like you to do back in the classroom as well, I'm going to throw the dice 8 times. And after each roll, we'd like you to place that digit in one of those boxes. And what we're trying to do is make those inequalities correct. Okay, so Charlie, are you ready?
Wait a minute.
Sorry.
I'm going to stop you sharing your screen.
Oh, yes, fine.
Yeah, I've done that.
Okay.
Right. So can we, okay, so.
Yeah, I can see that, brilliant.
I've drawn that. And what you're saying is I need that 2-digit number to be smaller than that 2-digit number.
Exactly.
And that 2-digit number to be smaller than that one.
Yeah.
And you're going to just throw a normal 1 to 6 dice?
Just a normal 1 to 6 dice. Sorry, that's a bit blurred, isn't it? 1 to 6 dice. Okay, you ready?
Yes.
First, number 2. So Charlie's going to put the 2 somewhere. Don't those of you in the classroom, don't be influenced necessarily by what Charlie's doing. 5. 1. 6. 2. Hope you're keeping up back in classroom. 5 again. 4. And the last digit is a 4 again. Ooh, Charlie, interesting. So you've got 24 is less than 65. Yeah, I agree. 24 is less than 65. Nice. And 21 is less than 54. Yeah, brilliant. So hopefully in the classroom, you've also managed to make, thank you for posting, you've managed to make your 2 inequalities correct. You may not have done, because of course, that's the nature of this game. You didn't know what dice rolls were going to come up. Charlie, I believe there's a scoring system though, isn't there, to this game, which we have yet to reveal.
Come on then.
So what we didn't tell you was that in this game, you're going to get a score. And the way you're going to score is this. If your top number sentence is correct, which Charlie's is, you're going to use the 2-digit number on the left. So in Charlie's case, it's the 24. If your bottom number sentence is correct, you can use the 2-digit number on the left, which in this case is 21, and you can add the 21 to the 24 to make your score. So Charlie, I think in your case, you've scored 45. Very well done.
I could have done much better than that.
Possibly so. So here is our challenge to you. In the last couple of minutes, you can begin to think about this. We have rolled. Charlie, would you mind, are you about to list the numbers we rolled? Thank you so much. These are the numbers that we rolled. So imagine now you know these numbers up front. Where could you place them so that the inequality signs are correct and you get the highest possible score? So the sum of those two-digit numbers on the left, which Charlie has circled, are going to be as high as possible at the same time as the two inequalities being correct. There's a little challenge for you to have a think about, Charlie.
And in the chat, please, please, please don't tell us how you arranged the numbers, but do tell us what you think, what you scored. So we don't want you to give away how you've done things, but Liz and I will also have a go at working out what the highest possible score is that we can get. And then, like we've done before, we'll just check that everybody's understood the rules carefully. Okay.
Okay, so let's do just for a couple of minutes, because it's already 43 minutes past. We're running out of time.
And the numbers are listed here in sort of pinky purple. You've got to use a 1, 2 2s, 2 4s, 2 5s, and a 6.
Thank you to those of you who are posting. Remember, please just post your point score rather than your arrangement of numbers at the moment.
So a lot of people are getting 96.
Yep.
Someone's got 119. I think those of you who got 119 need to check again that you've used the 8 numbers, that the numbers on the left are smaller than the numbers on the right. I haven't been able to get more than 100, so I'm a bit suspicious about 119.
I'm also a little suspicious about 119. I haven't managed to get more than 100 either. Well done to those of you who are still thinking, and please don't worry if you haven't got there yet. There'll be plenty of time to think about this after the webinar as well. Charlie, I've got my eye on the time here. We really should be finishing in the next couple of minutes.
Shall we? Did you get, a lot of people getting 96, Liz? Did you get 96?
I did get 96. What did you get, Charlie?
So did I.
Okay.
I just wonder whether it's worth sharing how I did this, just to make sure that everybody's really clear about the rules.
I think that would be worthwhile, because then we know, if we know that we understand the rules absolutely without doubt, then you can go away and think about this later. So,
Okay. So
thank you to those of you admitting that you made an error. That's understandable.
Okay, so I'm just going to draw my my 2 rows of boxes.
Yeah.
And what I decided was that I wanted my numbers on the left to be as big as possible.
Yeah.
So I quite fancied having a 50 something on the left.
Mm-hmm.
So I needed a 60 something on the right.
Yeah, we can't put 60 on the left, can we? Because we've got nothing bigger than the 6. So yeah, absolutely, I agree.
And so that was the 6 of the 5 user. If I put another 50 here, then it would be too big. So I then put the 50 there and the 40 there.
Yes.
And then that guaranteed that the number on the left was going to be smaller than the number on the right. So I could then use the biggest numbers in the units column on the left. And it doesn't matter where I put the 4 and where I put the 2. So that was that. And then I could put the 2 and the 1 here. And that gave me 96, a score of 96. And
that's right.
I was allowed to use both these numbers because, as you said, both sentences were correct.
Both number sentences correct. Brilliant. Thank you, Charlie. That's really nice reasoning. Really nice reasoning. Thank you.
I'm going to stop sharing my screen.
Yeah.
And then perhaps you want to show what extensions there are to
absolutely
this problem.
Let me finish off by showing you the going back to the task on the Enrich site. So this task is called Less is More. Oh, there we go, that one. And what we had to go at is we did the version as stands, and you could do it as a game against each other with a scoring system, or you might decide that you have got a set of digits that you've thrown, a bit like we did, but we used the numbers that came up on the dice, and you can reason as to how you get the highest score. Now, what we'd also love you to investigate back in the classroom is this task, More, Less is More. It's linked from the bottom of this one. And if I scroll down, it gives you a flavour. It's exactly the same idea, that you're rolling the dice and you're putting the digits in, but the calculations, the inequalities are just that there's a little bit more to think about here. And it's a really lovely challenge with some quite surprising results, I might add. So teachers, do take a look at that and have a go in the classroom with your students.
And the good news is our colleague is producing interactivities of these problems. So there will be numbers randomly generated, and it'll give you some feedback on whether you've got the highest possible total or the closest to a target. So watch this space. We're working on it right now. We think it's a really nice facility to have. I also want to give a quick feedback to Gula, I think, who's written, and I think has got a total of 97. And I think you've only managed to do that because you've used 3 5s instead of 2 5s and 2 4s. So just you need to make sure that you're using the numbers that appeared on the dice.
Absolutely. Thank you, Charlie, for putting that. We've come to the end of the webinar. Apologies for racing a bit at the end. When the webinar finishes, you should find that a feedback form pops up, teachers. We'd love you to complete it, but I've also put a link in the chat. We hope that you've enjoyed our mathematical thinking together today, that you got a better understanding of place value, and we hope that you enjoy the other resources to help celebrate National Numeracy Day. Thank you all very much, and thank you to our colleagues at KPMG as well.
I've added the link again to the Enrich page, which has got all these resources, and we'll send it to Harriet and Zoe, who can then forward it to everybody as well who's participated. Hope you all enjoy working on these problems.
Thank you all. Have a lovely rest of your day. Goodbye.